Hello, YouTube. We will be getting everything fired up shortly. Good morning. right, welcome to Island Moon Live. About 4 minutes, 3 minutes maybe, we'll be on live on the radio. And of course, now they start hammering and drilling everything. Yeah. This is the way it goes.
Cue the obnoxious sound effects.
Exactly.
Cue the leaf blower.
They really waited until we turned on the production music and started going. It's okay. I think they're putting in lights or a security system here. Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're side address mics, so just talk right into the side and eat the mic. You can lift it up a little more if you want, and there's headphones there.
Oh, again? I thought it was just you.
We're good.
Hey,
Okay.
that's the one I was looking at. That one, the green one.
I'm glad I walked over there. I just got sandblasted.
Did you tell him?
Yeah. And he was cool. He was
All right.
He knew that y'all were about to start.
So that's why I started this.
Where did Dale go?
Smile Day.
Oh. Ah. Yes.
All right. Almost going live on the radio. Welcome to everybody on YouTube. Glad you're watching us.
From your air conditioning.
Yes.
All right. 1 more minute, we'll be live on the radio and getting this going. Transmission looks good.
Port for bringing a container operator.
Check 1 2 1 2. All
I saw
right.
that.
That's what Gabe was trying to talk to me about yesterday.
And wasn't that in the news like yesterday or I just saw that.
Yes. I
Seems good.
actually saw Gabe Gary yesterday,
Yeah?
and he was supposed to be on.
Mhm.
But he's punted for 2 weeks.
Gotcha. So we've all got our liquids. Mine's actually warm. Keeps it cold today.
Man, that wind is kicking up. Nice little breeze.
You might
Messing
get
up my
lucky.
hair. All right, I think we're going to run through the weather. And then it's us. Yeah.
Yes, the Texas 200.
And it is this weekend?
It's the 15th through the 20th. What's the date today?
18th?
So I guess
Yeah?
if they're going that way, they start down in Mansfield.
Yeah.
They start somewhere down south.
And welcome aboard. Welcome to Island Moon Live on KEYS Corpus Christi 1440 AM 98.7 FM. My name is Jacob Boggs, and this is Island Moon Live, where we talk about things going on Padre Island, Port Aransas, Flower Bluff, and the Coastal Bend, and beyond, apparently. And today we're going to be talking about a bunch of things, even way out in the bluff. John Metz is our special guest. He knows a little bit about the weather. Also joined by amateur meteorologists Jay Gardner and Tyler Thorson, Debbie Noble and Del Rankin, also filling out the studio today. We are glad you're with us, both on YouTube at Island Moon Live and on the radio. So, without any further ado, well, I'd let you know we're broadcasting live from our Docks Waterline studio, and we've seen some interesting boats going by. The Texas 200 is coming through town, and that's a homemade boat regatta that starts down around Brownsville and comes through. We'll get to that later. Jay, how's it going this morning? I waited till you took a drink to turn it over to you.
Timing, and then we're also joined by Greg Smith.
It's Greg Smith joining us as well. It's been a while since you've been on. How's it going, Greg?
Going good.
Nice. All right. Okay, John, we're going to go ahead and jump right into this. Why is the weather so messed up?
That's what happens when you start hurricane season off. So
Well, we started hurricane season. It was something Dale was saying yesterday. We started off hurricane season with a storm coming out of, where did it start? Falfurrias or?
yeah, it came out of Mexico. We pushed a disturbance across the Gulf of Mexico. It kind of sat over Mexico for a few days, and then it came back to the east, and it went over Corpus Christi, right along the Texas coast, all the way up to Galveston, and now it's moving across the New Orleans area today. So it wreaked a little bit of havoc, brought us some much-needed rainfall, and that moisture in the ground is what's evaporating up into the air, making it such a hot and humid day today. In addition, high pressure just decided to sit right on top of us.
I feel like we need a green screen over here for
I know, right? That was outstanding. All right, well, that's our show for today. We'll, yeah. So, okay, explain to the listeners out there in Radio Land, what is your official title?
I'm the meteorologist in charge of the National Weather Service here in Corpus Christi.
That's awesome. Okay, so we're talking to the man. That's what that means. What are our yearly hurricane predictions? I know they lump us in with the Atlantic as far as the numbers go, but with the El Nino and the Enzo, the Southern Oscillation, what does that mean for us?
Yeah, it's a good question. So for the Atlantic Basin, it's predicted to be a little quieter than normal. So that's the official prediction, a 55% chance of anywhere from 8 to 14 named storms, 3 to 6 hurricanes, 1 to 3 major hurricanes. But for Texas, looking back in history, it's usually pretty quiet for us. We've really never had any direct hurricane landfalls during an El Nino season.
And what about rainfall that would possibly get us out of this drought?
Yeah, the El Nino rainfall pattern really only picks up during the winter time. That's the strongest signal. So it doesn't really affect the summertime rainfall patterns. It's more if it lingers into the winter, into the early spring, that's when we generally see above normal rainfall.
Did any of the rain that we got this past few days hit the watershed where we needed to hit?
Some of it did, yes. So we saw a good 2 to 3 inches of rain across the Nueces Basin primarily. Some fell over Choke Canyon, so there is water in the rivers right now running toward the reservoirs, so that's
Okay.
good news. Lake Corpus, I think, was close to 30% this morning, so I think it's going to
Okay.
keep going up because there's more water upstream
way.
heading down.
On the way? Excellent.
I had a question for you. We had 2 years ago, it showed up on my memories. This was the 2-year anniversary of Tropical Storm Alberto that just lingered and lingered and lingered. That was the strangest thing, the longest I've ever seen the tides that high. So could we have another one of those events possibly?
I mean, certainly, but it's pretty rare. So that was a kind of a combination of low pressure, which was way down near Tampico, Mexico. So it was kind of down in the central Mexico coast. But we had high pressure coming down from the north. So they kind of sandwiched us and produced a very strong gradient along the Texas coast. And that pushed all the water and the tides up along our shorelines and caused the flooding that we saw. So those don't happen very often, but just another example of it doesn't need to be a hurricane to cause a lot of damage or problems in the area.
How are we looking offshore right now? Was that where you were going, Jay?
No, actually, I wasn't. I was going
Oh.
to ask John about some AI centers. And the reason I bring up AI centers is one of my previous bosses, Dr. Philippe Tissot, actually is using an AI model to put together the Texas Cold Water Response Collaborative, right? Which John feeds a lot of data into Philippe's model. And the Cold Water Response Collaborative is a group of us, CCA, Donna Shaver, and National Park Service, and Texas Parks and Wildlife.
It's
Something
really-
loud on you?
We're all,
Yeah,
we're all
exactly.
really, really
So-
loud.
I've
Right,
got your
yeah.
mic on a separate input.
So
there you go.
Yeah, we're all
anyway,
loud.
they're pushing the boundaries of using AI to predict some of these cold stunning events, fishery stunning events. How much have you seen AI become pervasive in what you're doing?
It's a good question. So AI is really kind of revolutionizing our hurricane forecasting. So we have the NOAA, National Weather Service, National Hurricane Center. We have a partnership with Google DeepMind. And so it kind of has been going on for a little while. Last year, the Hurricane Center started using it in their operational hurricane models. And so it showed
The spaghetti models.
it showed about a 10-year leap in
Okay.
forecast track improvement that we hadn't seen before. So it's really positive. We're seeing a really good improvement. It's improving the hurricane track forecast so we can tell you where a storm's going to be going with more accuracy. Also help with intensity forecasting, especially with Hurricane Melissa as it approached Jamaica last year. So it's promising. It's really, there's a really strong partnership, and
You have to double check it, but yeah.
yeah, it's good. It's good for us so far.
So can we clarify? You're using the kind of AI that's used for the powers of good. So you're using the AI that's not the generative cat meme, use up a ton of water and hallucinate things, right?
It's not Genesis or Skynet, so we should be okay.
So, John, a couple of weeks ago, NHC put out a blurb about watch out for some of these internet type of forecasting on there. Can you expand on that a little?
Sure. I mean, you always have to be careful because people, once there's a storm out there in the Gulf, or some of the models start to show, hey, there could be a storm 10 days from now. You just got to be careful because folks will post things and not really know what it means, what the accuracy is. And so it's not uncommon for our American model, the GFS model, or even the European to show, all right, 10 to 14 days out, there could be a hurricane moving into the Gulf and maybe even here.
And it's not like people are panicky. I mean, the other day I was testing some of my hurricane panels with the new Easy Clips to put them up, and my neighbors were all worried when they saw me pull it up.
Yeah, like, what's he doing? Wait,
Yeah.
get
Jim
up, get him up, get him up.
Jim
Catch
Cantori
him.
pops around the corner.
Right.
Exactly.
Internally, when we see those, we're like, doesn't mean a thing.
Right.
Don't trust it. It's just, it's just one spurious long-range prediction that probably won't pan out. We're, of course, going to watch it and monitor it and you look for trends, and usually after about 4 days, it'll disappear in the models, and then it never comes to fruition.
You know it's going to be bad if you go by his house and see his boarded up. It's like, you better watch out.
That's
We're gonna have a hurricane cam on your house. That way we
That way we know when we really
exactly.
have to worry.
Yeah.
So how closely do you work with the NHC? So we're getting in there, and sometimes NHC says check your local office. So what's that trade-off?
Yep, so we have Google chat rooms where we're chatting back and forth with them continuously when there's a storm. So like with this tropical disturbance, I was getting text messages from the director of the Hurricane Center before they were going to start initiating advisories, even several days before, hey, we need to watch this. This is how we're going to communicate. So every 6 hours there's a cycle, and so we are on a conference call with them every 6 hours during when a storm is brewing. Even before that, we talk to them every single day at noon, and they give a brief internally to all the weather offices. So it is a very tight relationship. We are 1-on-1 when there's a storm out there.
So when we're reading the discussion points from NHC, you've had an active part in that.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, they're the experts. They know the hurricanes inside and out, but we're going to share those local effects, the local impacts that it's having, and they may input that into their forecast process or discussions.
One thing you have to remember if you're an emergency management team like the cops and people like that, if the winds get over 50 miles per hour, they're not going to go rescue you. You are on your own. They can't go get the nursing homes and get all the buses out because 50-mile-an-hour winds could knock over places. And so they say, hey, you're in it for the duration. So that's something to remember if you've got elderly people that are going to be cooped up somewhere.
And
So leave before that.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and it's like one of Blake's old favorite quotes from Ron White was, "It's not that the wind is blowing; it's what the wind is blowing."
The neighbor's
Exactly.
trash can going through your
Right.
windows.
Yeah. Stop signs are all great until they're flying 90 miles an hour.
It was funny how we were over at
Trampolines.
Jay's house during, I guess it was Hannah, and it was like the devastation. And I was like, well, this is what it was like before.
A couple of lawn
A couple of lawn chairs went over, and I said, he will rebuild. And it was nothing over at his house. It got a little sporty there with the winds, but then we're watching there and we see the end of the pier go. I was like, did I just really see that? And you go, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
It's crazy.
Every storm has its own personality.
That's true.
Exactly. Every storm is different. If you've been through a storm in the past, don't let it dictate how you think the next one's going to be.
Right. So, Alberto, some of the damage, and it's the same as Hannah and Harvey, the wind came from that way. You expect, hurricane typically coming onshore. No, sometimes it can go offshore too and cause a different kind of forcing. We'll talk about forcing later.
Yes, forcing is definitely that's something coming in, and it's another gorgeous day, a beautiful Island Moon Thursday right here at our Waterline studio on the Upper Laguna Madre that is full of water right now. If you've got a skinny boat, you can pretty much go wherever you like today, which is pretty awesome. Enjoy it out there, but unfortunately, it gives some people the lake mentality where they think they can just cut directly across, and then
Yeah.
once the tide recedes, this is when our friends at Seabo or Cito
Cito.
and Towboat US all make their money.
That's a different kind of forcing.
Yes.
That is throttle forcing.
Yes,
not wind
throttle forcing. I like it. Yes, it's like a nuisance tide, but completely different.
So, John, that you talked about climatological history on there. We've never had a hit, but so
Commercial break.
our area. When is it most prevalent for us to have a storm? We know the peak is around September 15th. What is the South Texas peak?
I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, we're going to leave that on a nice little
Another
teaser.
cliffhanger.
That's a good cliffhanger.
The cliffhanger. We're
I'm
dropping
going
it.
to break there for a second. And it's like,
We're going to jump to a quick commercial break. Everybody hold fast.
These boats are all handmade.
I really didn't have myself a car back then, but that I didn't stop me none. Now gasoline is hard for me to come by now, but that don't take away my Texas Island run.
I always use the NHC. I never look at the other stuff. I
good practice.
post it.
All right.
It's a good practice.
And John, I know you seem like a man full of rage, but the mics are still hot, so don't go yelling at anybody. It's yeah,
right.
yelling at bosses or anything.
I am.
We'll ask you.
We get refills. Can I
Those
go?
consarted snout-nosed butterflies, are they harbingers of doom?
They're harbingers of worms.
Yeah, especially if you're a hackberry tree.
I was saying, get out the
How much
systemic.
time am I gonna go get a refill?
A couple minutes. Yeah. So,
And speaking of butterflies, if you have butterflies in your belfry, go see Ted.
yeah.
He can
No, I'm
customize them for you.
I'm referencing the butterflies on my truck.
Wow, he's officially in the club now.
What'd you find, Jay? Nice.
I don't want to show it.
You got your secret decoder ring.
Yeah.
All right, you guys get full table and I got to head back.
Are you going?
Yep, back to
Do you have
the
any other
office.
questions we need to ask
Yep.
him? Oh,
Uh,
snout nose.
no, it's fine.
Good on that AI.
All right, you guys have fun. Yes, I wanted to talk a little bit more, but just asking more questions about it.
So yeah, Debbie, we've got a good batch heading down the river to Lake Corpus Christi. Choke didn't get much. Here's the
that's
big
one
thing.
of
We're
those boats out there.
130,000 acre feet right
Right.
Yeah.
So like if it didn't rain again, this pushes us to like April or May.
They
of
must
next
have, I
year.
bet you they spent last
now.
night at the yacht
Everything
club.
we've done, we don't have a cost.
Right. Well,
We're
if
using-
they came to fruition, we're not really getting that much right now. That's-
Well, right now we're using about 20,000 acre feet a year out of the lakes. We've got
Yeah.
130,000 acre feet. We're going to lose 50,000 in evaporation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then the scenario is
All right,
it
here we go.
ceases to rain. We always get some. And the landfall is they've overestimated.
And welcome back to Island Moon Live. It's a little bit windy out there. Nice little breeze going on. Tyler Thorson, Debbie Noble, Greg Smith, Dale Rankin, a huge crew of people. John Metz is joining me. What's going on, Tyler?
Well, we are in break, and obviously you can see everybody went to go get a drink. So what's going on here? We have got Greg Smith and John Metz is going to be retiring from the National Weather Service. We'll find out what he is going to do after that. But the big cliffhanger was Greg is going to ask him when we left last.
Yeah.
You asked him a question that had to do with hurricane prediction and when's the worst time to when can we expect hurricane to hit here?
Yeah, because the trends vary on there. Florida and the Atlantic coast is different than
different, yeah.
Eastern Gulf, Western Gulf. When should we really be watching it on there that are the storms? Oh, yeah.
So Tyler, you were with the county and you went through the emergency management meeting
Sure.
and the whole,
Yeah.
they kind of go through and it's a huge forum that they do every year. I know there's one in the Valley that a bunch of the newscasters and everybody goes to, but tell us about the one that was at, they usually do it at Borchard, right?
Right, and it's pretty much a standard meeting for everybody involved with emergency management, including usually you have the county commissioners, you've got the mayors there, you've got everybody in the fire department, the Texas folks, emergency management crew, sometimes some from the governor's office, and what they do is describe, here's how it's going to roll when you do this. And there's also lots of vendors that sell you prepackaged deals like, it sounds weird, but you can get prepay for disaster relief like $800,000 because if you don't, then you have nobody to come clean up the trees that are downing the power lines, and it's a good advice, good insurance policy for your emergency management department like the city to have that $800,000 kind of tucked
That's
away in
interesting.
case
Yeah.
that happens.
So just in case we do have an active storm season and get something that comes through, it's probably worth getting that old chainsaw out and
Oiling
hopefully
it, yeah.
you run some sea foam through it and clean the carburetors out. But before we jumped off to break, John, we were talking about the forecast for this year and kind of what we're expecting. We've got the El Nino patterns that have been, established for generations, it seems like. But it seems to me that only recently it's kind of gained popularity. Has this been just something that meteorologists are generally taught, that they just figure out, that just the public is just now figuring or learning about, or what?
Yeah, it's been around. Really, we've been documenting it, and the scientific records go back to around 1950.
Okay.
So hurricane records go back to the mid 1800s. The El Nino phenomena is relatively new, so it hasn't been around as long, and so we're still learning about it, learning its behavior and impacts. But there's some patterns that have come out of it. We've identified that El Nino is usually wetter for us and less in the tropical Atlantic. The La Nina is the opposite, where it's usually drier here, and then it makes a more active Atlantic hurricane season. So this is something that meteorologists generally know, and we've learned that in the last 50 plus years.
What about, and they say that, the wind shear usually brought on by that, it kind of dissuades development of, especially with warm Gulf waters. What about the Saharan dust?
It comes into play as well. So that's something that happens usually in that June, July time frame. So kind of like about right now, it could be starting to where that dust moving off Africa moves into the Atlantic, and it's an inhibitor as well. It brings dry air. Hurricanes don't like dry air, and so it kind of zaps the energy away from them. So you add that and wind shear, both are negatives for hurricane growth.
So the El Nino comes late in the summer, right? Like August, September this year?
So it's developing as we speak. So if you look at the Pacific right now, water temperatures are rising rapidly. So I think we're technically in a neutral, but within the next month, we might already be starting the El Nino. It's just supposed to strengthen as the summer goes on, so it could be in the strong category by that August, September, October
And
time
as
period.
that comes on, it creates the wind shear like August is talking about, and hurricanes don't like wind shear.
Exactly.
So the only way we get a late in the season storm with an El Nino year if it slips in between wind shear events.
For sure. Because the wind shear is not constant, and you can still get a perfect weather pattern to set up to steer a storm in our direction.
So is that the reason typically we get storms late in the year? It used to be our big storms would come late in the season and early in the alphabet. Celia, Beulah, those.
That's interesting.
And now it seems like there's years we go through the whole alphabet.
Yep, we're in this really active era, high activity era in the Atlantic. It's been going on for 3 decades, basically my entire career. So we've not been having those sea storms. We're having the kind of the middle of the alphabet, like you mentioned. So there's a lot more storms. So you're going to have a lot later alphabet letters here, because usually that August, September time period, that's our peak. That's when storms come here, because the high pressure is set up in the right spot over the southeast U.S. that steers storm in our direction.
Does it look like that's what this season is going to look like? I mean, we don't. If El Nino's coming late in the season, let me go find out what that is.
It's like someone's sliding an RV around up just on the floor above us.
And John, how about storms? In our history on there were a lot of storms out in the far Atlantic that weren't recorded on there. Now with all of our satellite and better, do we have on those smaller storms, do we report more? Is that another reason for going through the alphabet?
For sure. And so there's been a hurricane reanalysis to where they went back through all the historical records and ship archives to see, could there have been more storms in the past? And there were, and they've been documented now. Today we've got, you can't miss anything with the satellites and the aircraft and all the technology that we have today. We see every little blip in that helps us,
So-
to track more storms.
Right now, the highest category that they have is a 5, correct?
Correct.
I heard talk a few storms ago about possibly going to a 6. Was that something they were really entertaining?
No, it's never something NOAA or the Weather Service has been officially entertaining. It just kind of crops up social media, or people suggest it because there are such powerful storms sometimes, but there's no indication that we're going to see anything more than a 5.
John,
Yeah.
there's some anecdotal evidence that we have from, we'll say Dead Wrong Dale and Bill Vesey that talk about this was Bill Vesey. He said, I have never, not once, not ever, not seen an El Nino year end a drought in Texas. That's what he said. But then again, it could be an AI version of him, or that's what they call him, Dead Wrong Dale.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on that? Is that close?
No, we've had El Ninos and it not end a drought here, so that's happened before. And El Ninos, they come on a cyclic basis, and so you look at the past 20 years, we've had several El Ninos, and we've been in this long duration drought for a while. So
I know that you have a lot more history now. You're talking about how you can look up evidence before they were tracking storms. I saw areas in Louisiana where they would do core samples and could show the effects of a hurricane that had come 1,000 years ago or whatever. And same thing with in Peru. That's where they got a lot of the information for the El Nino events, because they had that dry season, so they could dig down to where, like, hey, it was wetter here because these conditions happened. That's sort of where that desert is, where the people like put mummies out there. It's a strange place, but that's a lot of the evidence comes from those sorts of things.
Well, is there a way to tell when we look at see a hurricane coming in, and some are wind events and some are water events, and I can never tell from the forecast which kind of storm you're looking at? I guess the slower they move, the more water they push. Is that right?
yeah, for storm surge, if you're talking storm surge, that takes a special recipe. You need strong winds. You need a long duration across the Gulf. You need a bigger storm, broader diameter, because it's going to push more water. And then the angle of approach as it's hitting the coast. So there's a lot of factors that all contribute. So
is there a preferred angle if we have a storm coming in? Is there one that's better for us?
The one that hits Galveston.
Yeah.
That's a perfect angle.
Yeah. So kind of our worst case is a storm moving perpendicular to the coast at landfall, just south of Corpus Christi. If you look, that's going to push all the water on the right side, just pushes it right over the island into Corpus Christi Bay, across right here in this water channel. And so that's kind of our worst case. And so also slow, there's a difference between slow moving and fast moving. So a fast moving storm is going to impact the island more than a slow moving storm. So there's just different factors that come into play.
Interesting. Well, we're going to keep talking about different types of storms and what kind of danger we could possibly be in for the rest of the season here. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Everybody hold fast.
Hell, I remember we were on 512, but we just got
Billy Snipes.
Yeah, good old Billy.
You don't know when that's going to start again.
Well, and El Ninos differ too, right? not all El Ninos in the summer.
So it looks like we're probably going to have a fairly inactive season through
Let me squeeze out.
probably through into August. If El Nino's starting to come on, it's our likelihood drops.
Yeah, I mean, there's no science to say how it's going to evolve. We can try to predict the number of storms of the season, but the details of how the weather pattern's going to shape up and when and where they're going
A butterfly flaps its wings.
You get a lot of those right now.
Yeah.
So with AI, how much stress in your forecasting accuracy in days on there? I always come 3 days. I mean,
Yeah.
you're pretty tight. 5 days, 7 days, don't even look. So where are we now?
Yeah, I mean, with AI, the 5 day just got really good.
Okay.
Really?
So if we see a 5 day now, pay attention.
For sure. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
The errors are dropping.
Uh-huh.
In 1 year, we lowered the errors on another 10%.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
So that's a big drop.
You guys got some kind of new equipment year before last or something,
take your
didn't you?
headphones?
Seems like we had somebody on the show, or
Is that why
maybe
they're so
you were
loud?
talking about it.
Uh-oh, I have it here.
What happened? Oh,
Fairly nondescript, cisgender, hardly infected with disease. All right.
the Texas 200's going by there. I think they must have spent last night at the yacht club.
We ought to get a dugout with some screen doors and some flex shield and see if we can put that in there.
Had one of them catch fire last year. Had electrical system, something went wrong, and
Homemade.
they're all homemade. Yeah,
I go over to the yacht club and see.
Remember?
if they're still there, I've been seeing them going by. They start. I think
Where are
they
they going from here?
they start in Mansfield, I think, or maybe the first night's Mansfield and the second night's here. Then they go to a somewhere over by Redfish Bay today, and then there's one more stop, and then Galveston, and I think it's 4 or 5 days, but it's they don't all finish.
You remember the Flower Bluff kids?
Out of beer.
Remember the challenge kids that came over? They had to build a boat out of duct tape and cardboard.
I liked your idea of having him build a desal plant next. That'd be-
That would have been tougher.
But the next project was building a plane.
That-
So they left over duct tape and cardboard.
That the plane. It could be.
Well, it'd be fun to do the Texas 200, but I wouldn't. Building a boat's not a whole different thing. Of course, you're only in 2 or 3 feet of water.
I think we ought to have something in the canals there, like a bathtub race, something like
well,
that.
once everything's open, I
Yeah.
want to have a tube party. Get everybody in with some inner tubes and do a strategic float.
No, and then we go over there to Whitecap Development and have them put a big screen in there and play Jaws one night.
Yeah.
We did.
Everybody in
We
the
did a
tubes.
cardboard boat race one year.
Yeah,
Out
they used to
here
have
for
when
4th of
Wake, it was
July,
a Train
but-
Texas raft race. You had all kinds of crazy stuff.
But those things are made to sink.
That's right. It's a party on the Gulf of Mexico. Thank you, Stevie Start, for playing us back in. My name is Jacob Boggs. This is Island Moon Live, where we talk about things going on Padre Island, Flower Bluff, Port Aransas, and the Coastal Bend. We've got a huge cast of characters here. Tyler Thorson, Debbie Noble, John Metz with the National Weather Service, former City Councilman Greg Smith, and Dale Rankin. And man, if you're out driving around, you better be careful because you're going to be cleaning your windshield with all of these snout-nosed butterflies. I know I walked out earlier and looked at my truck, and I was like, man, it's just covered. Maybe it's time to get rid of that truck and get something new from Discount Motor Company. You know, I called my buddy Frank, and he wants to buy my truck. He wants to buy your car or truck. Go see Frank. He's right at Discount Motor Company, 6601 SPID, right between Turner's and the movie theater. You can reach out to him at 851-2900, or just go to discountmotorcompany.com where you can see the active inventory that they have. Man, I drove by the other day. They've got tons of fleet vehicles. They've got some vans. They've got all kinds of great stuff. If you're looking for that F-250 or a new 4x4, go talk to Frank the Bank at Discount Motor Company.
Sounds like somebody started up with his truck right now.
There you are.
We're in an active boating lane. We're sitting here on the bottom floor of Doc's restaurant where watching the Texas 200 go by all the
Yeah,
homemade sales boats.
Yes,
Sailboats.
explain the Texas 200 to people.
They start down this time of year. They started on the 15th, and they start down somewhere south of here. I think first night I think it's Mansfield. Second night is here at the Padre Island Yacht Club, and now they're leaving out, headed to Redfish Bay. Homemade sailboats, all sailboats and all homemade, and they spend 4 or 5 days on the water. The ones that finish.
Is there a prize?
They come through every year. Finishing is the prize.
Yeah, getting there.
Living through it is that's the prize.
Continued employment and staying alive is your prize.
Last year, one I think yesteryear or the year before, one of them caught fire over coming into the yacht club behind out in the open water, and they had to tow it in.
It wasn't us at the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the 4th of July is 3 weekends away, 2 weekends away, so we'll have
a fire
Nick come back on, and got to get the maps out and tell people where to anchor up and everything. John, how long have you been in the local weather service office?
30 years in Corpus Christi here at the National Weather Service.
How has forecasting of hurricanes changed over that amount of time? I mean, computers obviously, but now
sure.
AI are probably the biggest thing. But what about radar? I would think radar has gotten better over that time, hasn't it?
Yeah, we had kind of a modernization right at the beginning of my career. So in the mid-90s, when I came here, we just built the new forecast office. The new Doppler radar was installed in 1996. And that technology has continued to improve, so we did some upgrades to make it kind of a 3D dual polarization radar about 10, 15 years ago. So technology's changed a lot. The forecast was only good about 2 days out, 48 hours back when I started, and now we're getting pretty good out to 5 days, even 7 days.
Really?
The accuracy is improving significantly.
How far out into the Gulf can your radar see?
250 miles is the range, is the maximum radius range, and so that's pretty far.
We had a Doppler when I worked at a TV station in San Antonio. The big out Fredericksburg Road, you've probably seen that big white ball in the air. And that thing had, I want to say, a 600-mile range. It could see well out into the Gulf, but it couldn't see down low over the horizon.
That's the problem is the horizon. So as you go out in distance, the horizon is dropping, and so the radar is looking straight. So if you're 125 miles out, we're shooting about 15,000 feet. So you're missing the details of the low levels of the storm.
Have you ever been in one of the Hurricane Hunter airplanes?
Only when it's parked.
Yeah. I went to the one out here a few years ago out at the airport. I've always wanted to fly in one of those things, but you got to go to Mobile, I think it is, to fly out, or somewhere, Pensacola or something like that.
Yeah, so Tampa, I think, is another one of the spots where the planes launch from, and that's where they launched yesterday to track
Do you get live feedback from those things?
Oh, for sure.
When they're out there, you can see right what they're looking at?
Yes, and anyone can. It's just right on the internet. You can track the flights and all the data they're collecting real time. It's amazing, the technology.
So where do people go to locate that data?
The Hurricane Center's website, that's the
Okay.
place to
It's
start.
all done through there? That's awesome.
Is there anything out there right now, storm-wise, in the Gulf? Is anything trying to form? Or
Nothing now, just that storm moving over Mississippi, Alabama, and giving all the rain to that New Orleans area today. But it's supposed to emerge into the Atlantic, just east of the Carolinas, late in the weekend. So it could reform in the Atlantic.
have we ever had an early storm like this form over Falfurrias or anywhere
Yeah,
near?
it-
I mean, I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a storm develop on, right on the coast, right on top of us like
Yeah.
that before in my time here.
What
But we
caused
certainly
that?
have, well, it's just the ideal conditions. So, we had a front coming down, so that boundary helped to intensify low pressure. But it already had the low pressure characteristics as it was coming from Mexico and drifting over South Texas. An upper level disturbance and trough helped to enhance the upward motion, and so it all just came together as it went right over the Gulf waters briefly. It was just 12 hours over water, and that's all it needed. And we saw a 60-mile-an-hour gust at Galveston yesterday. That's just how quickly it spun up.
We've had a couple of storms come through this year. We've had winds that high already in the spring. Is this how long is the rainy conditions we've seen? How long are those going to last? Do we know?
Yeah, we're probably at the tail end. It's pretty rare for us to see a wet season go into July. Right now, the outlooks are still moist for us through June, so we still are going to have another weather system next week to bring us more rain. And so we got to just kind of build upon what we have because the soil is moist, and any rain we get creates runoff, and it goes into our rivers, is what we need. It took a long time to saturate our soil, so now it's perfect for us to get more rain.
I came across the Almost a while ago, and it's full.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a lot of water standing out west here. Everything's green. I think so. As we go in through the summer, we'll probably as things start to dry out a little bit, we just have a regular hot, dry summer.
It's
goes
likely.
away.
It's most likely that's what's going to shape up. Yeah, and so our secondary rainfall peak is September, October. So
It's dove season, we call it.
Yeah.
that's also peak hurricane season, but yeah, that's generally when we're going to see our next best chance.
But today, though, the big danger is the heat indices over here. It's going to be like 120, and that's, like they always say in California, it's a dry heat out here. It's like, no, well, that 100.
It's also 120 degrees.
Yeah, we're just sweating all over the
Well,
place.
that's what I read from the forecast is as the El Nino comes on through the summer, it creates dry conditions, hotter conditions all through the middle of the country. Correct, and we're going to see higher temperatures up through the square states than we normally do north of us.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar, honestly, with the impact of El Nino north of here. I just know the signal for us is that winter wet pattern.
Winter wet, so we're coming to the end of that. Tides will settle down, and it'll be the forecast for summer is hot and dry, with continued hot and dry until autumn.
well, expect that we won't have snout-nosed butterflies on the windshield. There'll be dead mosquitoes because this is going to be absolutely awful. But one thing it's good at Complete Foundation Repairs is because all this rain has created all kinds of havoc with people's foundations. And so we with the downtime, we had one of our vendors come in, his name's Steve, and he hooked us up with all kinds of new tools. And so we were scraping around, doing the kind of stuff, practicing stuff. So it's good to get that, all that, because the work is coming.
Well, you just go to the part of town where they have expansive clay.
Which is everywhere except for the bluff. So,
And the island.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like right now, London, they must have had 15 inches of rain over there in the last few days.
Really?
Yeah, one of the guys, we had a meeting with the seashore, and one of the guys lives over there, and he said it was really, really tough to get through over there. There's been a lot
John,
of
if
flooding.
you've been doing this for 30 years, you must really like doing it. What's the best part of the job? You get worked up when a hurricane's coming and your phone's ringing.
For sure, but there's a lot of stress there because you just feel, the responsibility and the weight of the whole community.
So you ever sit in a room where you got the mayor and the county judge and the governor's office on the line going, okay, do we evacuate? And they all look at you.
Yeah, so we're generally doing it on a conference call, and you've got the mayor and the judges from every county in all of South Texas. So that's the challenge, and so briefing them on the behind the scenes, and so they can, make decisions that are best for their community.
They get put the word out, and millions of people are on the move.
So this may be a little kind of sound a little sophomoric, but what are the conditions underneath when you basically say evacuate? When you tell people just it's time to empty the place out, like what are a few of the things on the checklist? Obviously, if there's a Cat 4 coming, yeah, but like what's that threshold for you?
So you raised a good question. So as the National Weather Service, we do not issue evacuation notices. That comes from the county judge or the city mayor.
Okay.
So we will advise on the weather conditions. So we'll let them know about where the impacts are going to occur, when,
Yeah.
and then they have those
And then the county gets to
timelines,
make
and
a
they have
decision.
that checklist.
Okay.
And they make
Well, a
those
lot of it
decisions.
is the topography where the storm is going in, isn't it? If it's going into a bay or something like that, it's going to push water up into populated areas. That's going to go into the decision. I remember a few years ago when Rick Perry was the governor, he evacuated Houston for the storm that didn't hit, and it was a $12 million evacuation event. But I think it was either right before or I think it was right after Ike, so everybody was kind of spooked
After
about what was
Katrina,
going to
Rita.
happen.
Rita,
So that happened here. They the storm was just entering the Gulf, but the track showed coming here, and it was coming after Katrina. Everybody panicked.
Was it Lloyd Neal, I think?
Lloyd Neal was the mayor.
And we were the last ones to leave. I thought, wow, we don't really need to leave. And it was sunnier than hell, and it was like, wow, that was a waste of time.
So I have a theory, and now that we have an expert at the table, it'll be interesting to see if there's any kind of truth to this. If the cone of death points directly at Corpus as soon as it comes into the Gulf, it won't hit us.
That's interesting. So
They always turn. They
Yeah.
get right close to us, and
they say,
turn.
"Oh, it's going to be right," because I guess the models and everything that forecast it always push it right towards the devil's elbow, which means we're going to end up catching it.
Yeah.
But because of either storms or the movement of the systems, it has never, in my history of being an amateur, just doing this over the past few years, weather person, it's never been pointing directly at us and actually come down that track and hit us.
yeah, so you bring up a point where the error cone at 5 days, it's about 250 miles of error. So
which would be
you're
here
right,
to the Beltway
where
in Houston.
If it was zero error, then it would be dead on, and so you would expect that. The problem is that the storms are big and broad, and so whether you're on dead center or not, you're still likely going to have big impacts by that storm. So the storm could be 400 miles across.
Yeah.
And so, a storm like Ike was huge, and so it had impacts not just at the very center of the storm, but that sprawled out and affected multiple communities for tens of miles of Texas coastline. So just don't thread the needle on that. Start your
Yeah.
planning and preparedness if you are anywhere near that cone.
Well, Ike hit near Houston, didn't it? I think. And I was
Galveston,
standing on
yeah.
the seawall, and the waves were lapping up over the top of the seawall, 8 or 9 foot
That was fun.
surge tide.
Yes,
Drove
there-
the beach bums off the beach for the first time in
They
30
also
years.
they also had the Hurricane Bear in Galveston. There was a Hurricane Bear sighting during Ike, which I will tell you a lot more about that story, that and others, coming up after a quick break. Island Moon Live will return. Hold fast.
Was island country. Mansfield cut to St. Joe. 3-6 mornings with the 830. Baffin Bay on out to Rockport. Surfside to Galveston.
I'll probably say unless it's just a lot of surge tide. But the sustained winds is what weaponizes all the stuff in your yard.
Is it?
So we tell people plan for one category higher than forecast. So based on that, that's a Cat 1 storm.
That's true.
That's a problem we
I was
haven't
here
had
in Celia,
usually.
Which is
okay,
awesome.
try that.
and it was supposed
Try
to be
that.
a Cat 1.
I put this one on its own little
So
amplifier.
was Harvey.
It's still a little
So
loud.
a little loud.
Celia's
Okay, is that a little better?
Well,
I'd take Harvey over
I
Celia.
promised my ear
Yeah.
ringing anyway.
Well, not if you're in Rockport, maybe.
Tinnitus,
right.
yeah.
Well, Celia was
No, and a lot when we're spidering off,
Celia
or
was
when
wind.
they're sharing, sometimes
Did you
they're way
ride out
too
Harvey
soft.
before that?
But
No,
that's why I
did
have them on the
here,
amp.
but
Oh.
All right,
all
no,
our
much
damage
better,
was
much
from
better.
water damage. I prepared
Yeah.
for the wind, and probably
Celia
50%
was wind.
of
It was water
100% wind.
too, but man, it was
a hurricane
it
about
blew
19
it broke
years
the
ago. It was like right when I
what do
got
you,
there.
the wind measuring device
Yeah,
at the
it
weather
was.
surface off at 179 miles an hour or something like that.
For sure.
It was
So
fun,
no
like,
one
the
really
next
knew
year,
how
it was one
fast
right
it
after
blew,
the
but
other.
I lived in Portland, and Portland took a hit,
Go back
man.
playing with the kids, 'cause Bob
We,
had to
we,
run
we
the
our whole
car.
neighborhood.
So I
We
ended
didn't.
up
It was a
saying,
lot like
the
Andrew.
hurricane
Small
missed us
storm
here, and
tightened
it
up just
closer
before it
to
came in and just
closer to
put
where
the
we
wind
went.
velocity to the wind.
And it
With
was a
lot of
unique storm
tornadoes.
too. It was a very unique storm
And-
and its wind damage.
Well, and Harvey, as big as it was, when we didn't get much of a hit here, you could see where the eye wall went about halfway between here and Port A,
Yeah.
and it completely changed.
Yeah.
Because we missed that eye wall, fortunately.
South of here,
So fortunate.
down of the eye wall, got 6 feet of water, 8 feet of water. That's about it. But man, it just set over Fort Aransas and Rockport both.
Well, it pushed all the water out of the bay. The dunes acted as a barrier and flooded. That-
So they needed. It's like blowing the levee.
Yeah.
You need to blow the dunes.
Yeah.
Hey, at least they have good wind for the sail. That's awesome.
They're going right
these,
downwind.
These butterflies, these bullnose butterflies, they just hatched. They're not migrating, right? Or they hatched.
They are associated with hackberry and fresh water. They feed on hackberry. That's what we're told, along with a lot of other things. And that's-
Are they migrating here?
Yeah, but they don't migrate far. I mean, it's not
it's
like
not
they're
a
like it's not like
migrate, it's
monarchs.
more of a hatch.
It's
More of a hatch.
Yeah.
Just like,
Crazy, right? It looks like it's.
but in the past,
I've got to drive out of town for work, so I'll be running right up the coast, and I'm going to hit every one of those guys.
I've got
So
some.
the hatch will be over by tomorrow morning when I'm in Baytown.
I get more anecdotal questions for
Okay.
John but from Jay and I, which and then has to do with the water and all that kind of stuff.
Not that far after
He'd probably agree.
Mill 68.
It seems to me, ever since I can remember, the hurricanes that come right at us, they always turn. I mean, remember hurricane. Gilbert was
I'll
gonna
tell you what, but if you had that Cadillac, you could drive it out to Padre Island and hang out with us here at the Waterline at our Docks Waterline Studios. It is Island Moon Thursday. We're going over a bunch of different stuff dedicated to weather. A nice little first hour dedicated to our buddy John Metz with the National Weather Service. And to finish teasing I guess, pay off the teaser that I was talking about earlier with the Hurricane Bear. During Ike, there was the Jim Cantori types, and every television reporter was out on the seawall, and there was this guy in a big stuffed bear outfit out there dancing just before the storm hit. We've had the storm bear. We had the guy in the kilt with the American flags. That was pretty cool. We've had the rocker, the guy with his guitar and long hair, and it was, it's like just like 20, 30 mile an hour winds, nothing crazy. But, all the characters end up coming out. And it's always pretty funny. I always just wait to see what we're going to have here. And I figured Tyler's going to come up with something pretty funny.
I was thinking Looter Dude with a 6-pack or 12-pack of Flower Bluff Stout going across the Oso.
there
that
you
might
go.
be a harbinger of things that bad things to come. I was going to ask John about the Jay and Oggs and I are of course amateur meteorologists and we know a lot, but
using words you can't spell, man.
we've seen the cold water upwellings affect things, and for whatever reason, I always say, watch. You see these thunderstorms headed to our northeast, and they split right about Cal Allen, right at the peak there of where Nueces goes. They go whoop, and they missed all of us completely. How much of that is due to the terrain? Is that true? Sometimes, I guess it just depends on. I guess the two questions are: does the cold water upwelling that will kick things sometimes? Will it kick a storm out of the way, or it doesn't like the cold water, so it maybe
Talking about one coming from the north?
no, coming from a hurricane coming in the summertime, we get these cold water upwellings along
Okay.
the seashore, and it gets really cold. Does that affect things that you
It
think?
affects its intensity. So the hurricane relies on the very warm, humid air coming off the Gulf to fuel the rising thunderstorms and the lowering of the pressure and the increase of the wind. So if the storm moves over cooler water, then it's going to usually reduce its intensity. So it reduces the thunderstorm, so it can cause weakening or maybe just delayed strengthening. So,
So if
it
it's a-
most certainly has an effect.
So if it's a big storm that's pulling up cooler water from depths down in the Gulf, it's pushing that cooler water. When it hits a landmass, that cooler water comes up, and that steers the storm.
Nothing to do with steering, only its intensity.
Okay.
So what steers the storm, since imagine they're 50,000 feet tall. So you fly in a commercial plane, 35,000 feet, this is bigger. And so it's the whole atmospheric jet stream and wind motions that move the storm along. So as it's moving over the water, it's just fueling whatever it's given it. So if it's moving over cold water, it's going to reduce its intensity usually.
And the wind shear, without the lack of wind shear, allows it to vent the energy out the top of the eye.
For sure.
And so if the wind shear comes in at a higher altitude, that energy can't go out the top of the storm, and that reduces the intensity.
Yep, it's just like putting a lemon in your exhaust pipe. It's just not going to allow it to be an efficient
Ain't gonna fall for
heat
that.
engine.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's funny when it's somebody else, though.
Sorry. Back to the hurricane stuff. I was noticing if you watch them wobble, I was told that a hurricane is like a colloid, like a jello. And when you watch them move around, they're wobbling like it looks like a jellyfish almost when you see them move around. Does that have to do with? Is it really like a colloid or act like fog? Or what is?
It's
what
a
is
heat
with that?
engine. right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. It is a heat engine. It's just driven by the thunderstorms that are building around the center. And so when a thunderstorm burst occurs, then it's lowering the pressure below. And because of the rotation of the Earth and the Coriolis effect, it causes the winds to spin counterclockwise at a stronger speed. And so it's just like, if you ever watch, I don't know, the tractor pull or something, where those big trucks, when they exhaust, they're hitting the gas and they exhaust out the tire, and the tires spin real fast, and then it gets into a rut. You're spinning that top, and then it's waiting for the next burst of thunderstorm activity, and it spins some more and it intensifies. So it's all based on the thunderstorms around the eye that drives the size, its motion, its circulation, and intensity.
No Jello.
Okay, so
No Jell-O.
how come in the Pacific they typhoons get there's a lot of cold water in the Pacific? I mean, I wouldn't think that they would be that. Why do they get so strong? Or how do they get so strong?
It's warm water. Yeah,
Is it the same thing?
there's much warmer water actually in the West Pacific than we have in the Atlantic, and so they get even stronger storms. They call them super typhoons, and so to have
There's a lot of reach
180
over there too. They travel a lot of open water.
Yeah, you go to some place like the Philippines, they're getting like 12 storms a year. It's just like it's an onslaught of storms in the Western Pacific.
And it's all seasonal.
It is.
Well,
Do we tend to get tornadoes with most of our hurricanes? Because you don't hear much about that.
Not necessarily. It takes a special storm to get tornadoes. Usually, they generally form in the outskirts on the right front quadrant, in the rain bands like 100 to 150 miles away from the center, and it usually is the northward moving storms that produce the most prolific number
Straight
of tornadoes.
north?
So a storm that has a northward trajectory creates just the right amount of wind shear to get tornado production. And so you look at a Beulah in '67 that hit in the valley. We had 115 tornadoes here in the coastal bend
Really?
during that storm, where it was turning north, and we were in the right front quadrant. We're about 150 miles, 100 miles to the right, and all those tornadoes came up through here, up through Victoria. It's still the record number of tornadoes
Really?
in a
Well,
hurricane.
Beulah dumped a lot of water in this area. It was a water event.
It was a tornado and water event for sure.
It flooded everything north of the bay down here. I know. When Hurricane Allen hit in 1980, I was living in San Antonio, and we got a rash of tornadoes. A couple of dozen went right through downtown and tore up all kinds of stuff. Within 24 hours after the storm made landfall down here.
So that's your clue. Any storm that goes into the valley, into Brownsville, think tornadoes here in the coastal bend.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Well, Allen, it was, you were probably here then, Greg. I came down here by accident afterwards. That's the one that wiped out the seawall.
Wiped out the seawall, took out the median barrier on the causeway, 1,300 feet of it. Those 14,000-pound concrete barriers on there, they were in the Laguna Madre. And I was working, we got the job from TxDOT to fish them out. And
There you go.
that was one we couldn't find.
I was gonna say,
it was
found
lost. Yeah.
A prop killer somewhere in the
Is
water.
that the one that was found over here in the canals? Remember that? They said it was some kind of bulkhead from somewhere.
Yeah, no, I doubt it went there, but yeah.
Well, I
That
know
shows the power.
what Allen got, our damage here, the most damage that we've had, physical damage on Padre end of the island, is outbound water. And Ike was one. It didn't do a lot of damage, but it pushed a lot of water into the canals. But Allen in '80 took out over 1,000 feet of bulkheads, water trying to get back into the Gulf. It's what we saw, what was it, 2 years ago today, or this week, when Hurricane came, Alberto, that took
Oh,
out
2 years. 2 years today.
took out the bulkheads.
Tropical storm.
That was outbound water as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, John, it's been great having you on. John Metz with the National Weather Service. We appreciate you showing up, and we're going to take a quick hour break, listen to some news, and we'll be back on Corpus Christi's KEYS 1440 AM and 98.7 FM. This is Island Moon Live. We shall return.
Down in Texas Island Country, Mansfield cut to St. Joe. The 361 is with the 830. Baffin Bay on out to Rockport.
So we're just taking this year off.
Okay.
Nice.
Where are you going to move? You stay here?
We're staying here. This is home. Yeah,
Yeah.
love Corpus.
You're not from here because you don't sound like this.
Well, I moved here 30 years ago,
your
so
family.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm from the Midwest, but
Where?
What's up?
Illinois, Iowa area. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tornado
YouTube's going straight through there.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
cutting the
worse
second
things.
segment for
I
the
go
radio.
up there. My family from Oklahoma. I
Make
was
sure
up
they
there
got
visiting
everything.
So what are you going to do for your
a
year?
couple of years ago, and you get now when those tornadoes are coming out of the southwest, you get in front of your television. They'll go live for 10 hours, and they'll say,
Yep.
if you live in the 300 block of Main Street,
Yeah.
run because in 20 seconds a tornado is going
Yep.
to hit your house.
I love how the weathercasters have this, like, oh, here, if you look right here, and there's hail right there. Back in my day, we had Doppler radar at KWTX in 1980, whatever it was. 84. And I would circle it in there, and the weatherman come up there. Is that a hook echo? Because you'd had a hook echo back in the day, and I would sit there and trace it. I'd have a grease pencil, and I could watch the radar and see which direction they were going. I go, this one's going over the Walnut Bowl factory right now,
Right.
and this one's over Interspace
that
Caverns.
was a Dan Rather innovation.
Yeah.
He put a map on a radar screen in, what was it,
Oh,
Carla, maybe?
Carla.
It was in
1980,
Cuernavaca,
1960.
Carla.
And so they always had the picture of the tornado, but you couldn't really tell how big it was or where it was. So he took the coastline of Texas and popped it on there, and everybody in Houston jumped in their car and started hauling ass because that thing is as big as the Gulf.
Yeah. That's the way Gilbert was, because I remember tonight on Frontline, Hurricane Gilbert. You know, they swallowed the entire Gulf of Mexico was this Hurricane Gilbert. It was like,
Yeah.
that was impressive.
I came down here to cover it, and by the time I got here, I got
John,
to
how
the
you doing on
seawall,
time?
and
I have to go.
and it wasn't
Oh,
even.
okay.
We didn't even get rain. We got just a little bit of
Appreciate
wind.
you
That was
stopping
it.
by, man.
7
Appreciate it.
days,
Thank you
man.
for
You're
the
a
invite.
short timer.
That's great to see. I'm glad you're hanging around.
Oh yeah, you're gonna see me on this beach all the time because I love it out there,
You like to fish?
and I get to evacuate when there's a hurricane.
I
for
was
the
going to
first time.
ask. So when will you evacuate? When will be your trigger point?
Yeah,
Now
I mean,
that you're a
it's-
civilian.
I'm gonna beat the population. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah,
be behind the people. I want to be ahead of them. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's always what I tried to do with my wife: get her and
Yeah.
the kids to
Yeah.
San Antonio first.
Especially with the animals.
Yeah,
'Cause
you can't
get
worry
an animal
about your
in a car with
family.
you.
You're
No.
selling gross.
Yeah, but I put
always-
hurricane shutters on or windows. I put the
Oh, you
hurricane
put the
windows on the
permanent-
whole house, so I don't have to worry about boarding up anymore.
Oh, yeah.
That's
So-
smart, man.
I always
can
wanted
just
to have,
hightail it.
when a hurricane was coming, when I worked in television, I always wanted to have the weather guys just get in front of the microphone camera and go, run for your very lives, and then rip off the mic and run off screen, spread lights.
right.
Dan McGee in Lamar Peninsula, he's got.
Yeah.
When you leave, and then we'll know.
Okay, yo,
Guys,
Brian,
it's
So
been
what
a
are you
pleasure.
gonna,
Ready to
what are
fire
you gonna
this
do
up?
for your year?
We're gonna
All right.
travel.
I'm gonna light this
We're
candle.
going up to the Frio next
Man,
month.
look at that guy. He's hauling it.
yeah, those others came through, but they were pushing. They had a 9.9 pushing them, so they were moving pretty fast.
Oh, you mean
Yeah,
an
y'all
outboard?
done a great job.
Yeah.
I like your product, and I avoid that stuff.
Smart. Good. Glad to hear it.
Well, you don't have local weather guys much anymore. You used to have, people had been there for years and years, and that the industry's changed. They just don't do that anymore.
But there's some good meteorologists
All right,
now.
audio check.
They
Audio
still
check.
come out of Mississippi State. Is that still the?
It's a busy school, yeah, but our local school is putting out some really great
Really?
meteorologists. So we have we're cycling them through as student internships.
Oh.
6 students a year. Bringing them through.
Well, we used to
yeah,
hire.
you're fine.
We would.
You're
when we
good?
were looking
Yeah.
for weather people. We look at all the stations down in Mississippi and Louisiana because they get their first job out of the meteorologists down there. They'd be in some little market. You could go down there, and that's where we'd find them.
All right, y'all ready to fire this up?
Thank you for
Everyone-
being here, man. I
John.
appreciate it.
We'll
Congratulations.
catch you on the beach.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care.
All right, segment 1, 11 minutes. And thank you to everybody for still watching us on YouTube or tuning in later. All right, Greg, can you scoot your chair over a little bit more so we can see you?
We get your lovely
Yeah.
face
Don't
in
want
there.
you hiding behind Dale over there.
There you go.
All right, here we go. Let's see. Bring on this back. And we're back on Island Moon Live. Tell you what, I'm going to actually fix that. We waited until the guy put it in reverse for us to start recording naturally. Yeah.
I can hear it.
Yep, it's food delivery truck.
Were
Probably
they
the
scooting,
Benny Keith
scooting
guy,
tables out there upstairs that was doing that noise?
moving things for a
They
party.
had a
Big party.
like a 12 top, so they were scooting tables
Tell
together.
them lift the tables,
It
guys.
just happened to be right over our head. So it sounded like thunder though while we were talking.
Yeah.
It was impressive.
I thought it was wind initially. Okay, all right, y'all ready? Let's fire this up. And welcome back to Island Moon Live. We are here at our Docks Waterline Studios on a beautiful Island Moon Thursday, where we talk about things going on Padre Island, Corpus Christi, Flower Bluff, Port Aransas, and the Coastal Bend. Taxpayer liaison for the Nueces Central Appraisal District, Brian McCabe, joins us. He's been a contributing writer for the Island Moon. Recently, if you want to catch his latest article, you can just go to islandmoon.com, where issue 1157 is up online and will be out in some of your favorite retailers.
We ran a
today.
picture. We had Jason Tunnel on last week. He talked about finding, what was it, 8,000 nurdles?
30,000.
And so
yeah.
we got a
A lot-
picture
a
of
lot
it
of
this week.
nurdles.
More nurdles than you thought existed in Nurdle Land.
Yes, and the Victoria Barge Canal. There's
I can imagine that.
There's a lot of interesting stuff. We're going to spend a little bit more later in the hour getting to a lot of the things we have going on in the moon and a bunch of local stuff. But Brian, while we have you here, buddy, it's appraisal season.
It is.
The
Is it too
contesting
late?
period
When's
has.
the deadline?
Yeah, the deadline was May 15th for protest. But there's still a lot of things that happen. What are we looking for
Where
next?
are we in the Where are we in the cycle?
We're in the cycle. We've got about 1 month before we certify the tax rolls. So there are
Okay.
protest hearings going on right now. 5 different panels hearing them. People in the lobby.
We should have one of those live on the radio.
It's spellbinding. Yeah.
I guess you could. I mean, they are open meetings.
Wait, I can hear it now. I could write the script. Well, if my house is worth that, write me a check. I'll sell it to you.
We hear that all the time, Dale. And I've thought about contacting some of my friends in the hedge funds and saying, okay, great.
Yeah.
Go down, see the car down there, we'll buy it. And I think it'd be a good investment.
So people we're at the point now where people have filed their protest,
Yes.
and you're just going through the backlog.
Well,
The deadline passed, and so you're catching
yeah,
up.
we hope to get through sometime in mid-July, July 17th or so, and that's what I wrote about this week. So if I could kind of start
Sure.
with that.
Yeah.
Because I tend to write about things that I hear. People ask questions, and some of them are, man, you ought to know that. But
Yeah.
people don't, so that's what I try to do. This one is, how does this all work? And you start with the appraisal district. And on social media, that's where all the flack happens. Man, when those appraisal notices go out,
April 1st.
April 1st, and then it just hits the
It's
fan.
not April Fool's.
So
No,
you
it's not.
you lay low for a little bit.
Yeah.
Let it tamper down a little bit.
Well, yeah, but it really starts then because I start getting all the phone calls and I get the people.
You're the
stopping
complaint
me.
department.
I am. I'm sort of the ombudsman. So
Yeah.
people stop me at HEB. They stop me when I'm walking the dogs. And the point there, though, is that the appraisal district is the first one out of the box. So the first time you hear from anything about your taxes, it's going to be
You're
your
the
appraisal
first
notice.
Indian into the fort.
They are. And that's where it really hits the fan. And what we're trying to convey to people is the appraisal district doesn't tax you. We don't have any taxing ability. We don't collect money. Our job is to come out with appraisals, and then your protest is welcome. You ran a great article. Thank you. I wrote it. About how to protest. Because
yes,
that's,
it's very informative. Yeah, that was
and
great.
a lot of people don't get that. They come down, they're just all pissed off. And so one thing was to clarify the fact that we are not taxing. We can't. We don't have any taxing ability.
But you haven't affected how big the check is going to be.
We do to a certain extent. So let me run through it. The first thing we do is send out those notices. That's when people can file their protest. And really, it's encouraged is a wrong word, but the district wants to be correct. The comptroller comes down and audits the district, and you got to be within about 95 to 100% where the market is. And so the district is always subject to that audit, and all the other 254 districts are too.
How does the comptroller come in? What benchmark do they use to determine if you're within a 5% accuracy?
They use the market value that they pursue is in effect in Nueces County, and the fair and equitable, which is what the Constitution mandates. So that's
Fair and
how they do it.
equitable and market optimal market value, optimal use, right?
Yeah.
Highest and best use. is-
Highest and best use is a factor, but I don't see it really being applied that much. I mean, we're not doing that much down here that would be highest and best use. We have what we have. I mean, we all know the market is somewhat, I don't know if it's stagnant, is that the right word? But
Well,
it's not.
Well, as you go through the protest, what's your take? I know the numbers aren't final, but what's your seat of the pants observation on where values across the county are going to go? Are we steady? We up a little bit? We down?
We're all set as of January 1. And so a lot of the complaints I get, which is, hey, have you seen what's going on? I got 6 houses on my street alone that are for sale. You know, my house or my condo has been on the market now for 18 months. And
Yeah.
I hear that. But it's effective as of January 1. So that does throw people for a loop because obviously things change in April. They
Yeah.
change,
You have to find some time to reset the clock, though.
and that's when they do it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hearing we had Kim Irwin on the show a while back, realtor out here on the island. I'm hearing from realtors that things are really slow. They're comparing it to the 2008 slowdown when we had the housing crunch.
Well, we all know the reasons for that. I mean, one is the market is slow. The interest
Yeah.
rates have not come down, nor are they going to anywhere. I think the Fed yesterday said, "Now we're going to hold steady." We also have this little controversy about where are we going to get our water from?
Yeah.
And people are bringing that up. You want to sell them the house, and they're going, "Okay, I don't have any water."
Kim
Or
even
more.
said people were asking, "Will we be able to brush our teeth or flush our toilets?" Like
Yeah,
there,
they're like, yes.
there's that
Yes.
there's that much
They're that
misinformation out there
It's
about this. Yeah.
tremendous, and that is something that people do bring up. But again, on January 1, that was not necessarily the case, and
Right.
that sort of split is.
So the valuations are more or less a year behind,
yeah, I guess you could say
or
that.
half a
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
8 months, 9 months.
Because the district spends all the appraisers down there, and they're a great group of people. You know, underloved, underpaid, but
Well, Greg was on that board for a while, weren't you, Greg?
Yep, vice chair.
yeah. So you know what I'm saying.
You know what the treatment is like, Greg.
Yeah.
It's horrible. And
So they come through right now. They protest. At some point, you come to a conclusion.
Right, and that's
And-
going to
and
be
you
somewhere in in July.
And then what? If somebody still says, "Well, I don't like it. I'm not happy, and I'm going to pound the table," what's the process?
The process then would be, again, the district does not set the taxes. People
Right.
need to understand that. We don't. We don't have taxing ability. So then the certified roll is turned over to the 30-odd taxing entities. The school districts, the city, the county,
Right.
the special
Hospital.
districts.
Delmar.
Delmar is a big one. People
Hospital.
complain about them a lot.
Yeah.
The
Don't know why.
hospitals.
Yeah,
But that's another conversation.
that's a
So,
I think it's a return on investment.
Yeah. so that happens. And so the remedy at that point is go yell at the city council. Go yell at
But
the
that's
commissioner's
when
court.
but what if they're just not satisfied at the end of the process with their evaluation?
They've got two remedies that I can give them, which is you can go to binding arbitration. And a lot of people don't want that because it costs money.
Who picks the arbitrators?
That's kind of complicated. I got certified
You just-
as an arbitrator. Everything's complicated. You know, give me a break.
You don't just
This
go
is
out on the
simple.
street down there on Water Street and go,
Kind
"Hey,
of like
you."
that. I got the training as an arbitrator, and my problem was I wasn't going to be able to hear anything in the Oasis for 2 years. So I'm doing Lubbock. You know, I didn't really want to do that. And plus, you work out of home, and I didn't really want to do that either. I need to get out of the house, get out, get out and do
So you
something.
go to arbitration school,
That's one of
and the
them.
first day, everybody repeat after me. Everybody just simmer down.
simmer.
That's pretty much it, but it takes a long time. If you were going to protest, and I'm going to use most of us here at the table, whose values are under $1 million. So I'm assuming I'm not counting anybody out.
Close
Pesos,
after,
pesos.
after the last 2 years.
Yeah, so that costs $450 if you're going to go to arbitration. If you win the arbitration, you get $400 back. 50 stays with the arbitrator. If you lose, well, you lost. The other is to go to district court, and that is, you talk about $400 to arbitrate.
And then you're hiring
District
a
in
lawyer.
court can cost you $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 if you're going to go all the way to trial.
So if the arbitrator rules against the protester, he gets to keep $450.
No,
If,
yeah, well,
if he rules in favor of the homeowner, he only gets to keep 50.
he gets to keep 50 either way.
Oh, okay.
What happens to the other 400? I don't know. I mean, I didn't teach us
I'm
that.
assuming that doesn't go into our
probably goes-
pocket because that
No.
would be a
The
conflict.
goes into
district is
the-
responsible for it.
You what, sir?
Isn't the district responsible for it if they lose?
Yeah, I
and-
think so.
Yeah,
So
the
money
district
comes out
has
of the
to pay.
district, you're
Yeah.
correct.
So,
Really?
John, explain your job as a taxpayer liaison officer, TLO.
I'm the guy that gets all the complaints. I'm
Yeah.
the, sort of the ombudsman. If you go to your hearing and you're not happy, you come into my room and yell at me. I can't really change anything. I can't change what the ARB did. I can't change how they value you. You know, you're not a duplex. Well, I can't fix that. I can hopefully calm people down. That's really what I try to do.
I went to arbitration.
That
I
sounds
went.
like a thankless job.
I actually went down there, and I was very surprised because I talked to people because I said, "Hey, your date is set for your arbitration hearing," but they gave me a QT. Says, "By the way, I just want to tell you that your chances of seeing one of the people on the board are slim to none, but you can come down here and see us." So I did, and we'll leave on that and come back.
We've got a little. We're going to take
Okay.
a
So
quick
you
little break.
tell them, sir, I have to be overvalued. My house doesn't even have the wheels on it anymore.
There you go.
Well, once the wheels go flat, and you just basically you're there. You
You're
know,
there.
Yeah. That's how half of our populations got here initially. We're going to take a quick break. Island Moon Live will return.
Where they say the fish bite every day. That's my island on a different kind of sand, where the dolphins and the seagulls.
At least you got a fan.
All right.
It's going to be a long, hot summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I need to ask you about this because it was. I was very pleased with how things went, but a couple of things that I thought were a little weird. Yeah.
So you went all the way
I
to
went.
arbitration.
Well, I had arbitration scheduled, and they said, "Hey, just
Hey.
here on the QT, your chances of seeing them are slim to none. So if you want, you can
Got
come
chair
down
for
here
you.
anytime." and talk to
Yeah,
me.
yeah, I was gonna say, they do a lot
Been
of
a long
informal stuff
time.
before you get to those levels.
Good to see you. So I'm the big
Oh,
So that's the word on the street.
Here we are.
Deborah?
we're rocking and rolling.
We're in a little
What's up,
break.
Chris?
Got you a chair here and a glass of water.
They said you're a rock star. I talked to your employees.
Here you have ice. You stay
They
there.
all like you.
No, wait.
Here, you can stay right there.
Okay.
There you go. We've been saving you seats.
Yeah.
Good.
Keeping it warm,
Thanks
that's
for
what we
coming.
need.
You're
So
right.
I
Facing the
emailed you, I think. Did I email you? Because you gave me your card and I thought I did. I'll have to double check.
And Deborah, what is your title?
Chief Appraiser,
Chief Appraiser. Okay.
Nueces Central.
Central. Yes.
Appraisal
we've done
District.
That's untouched by human hands.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I did bring just a few. Dale was talking about how always want to separate Flower Bluff from Conrad.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
So I did bring, it's actually all of the properties that were protested for Flower Bluff ISD,
Okay.
and then how many are still active.
Okay, but I live on the island. I could protest to Flower Bluff ISD. That's the reason they want to.
Okay. Segment 2. 10 minutes. You guys about ready to fire this up?
We're right in the middle of these questions.
Yeah. And feel free to scoot closer. You got to eat the mic. If we have to keep them close to us. If not, it sounds like everybody's got a seagull sitting on their shoulder.
You got Gene Cernan here with you next door.
Yeah. And remember, even when we're on a break, we're still on Facebook Live.
Yeah, like this.
Yeah. So no. The mics are always hot.
The mics are
That's what I
always
just tell
hot.
people. Yeah. Don't get too mad at Greg.
Okay. Don't do that.
Or Dale. Or your
Exactly.
appraisal, or,
All right, everybody sound good? And welcome back to Island Moon Live. We are here at our Docks Waterline Studios. Deborah Morin, Chief Appraiser from Nueces Central Appraisal District, and Brian McCabe, Taxpayer Liaison. Joining us this morning, Debbie Noble, Tyler Thorson. My name is Jacob Boggs, and the one and only Greg Smith is with us here as well. Just before the break, guys, we were talking about the process and where we are in the timeline. Brian, you were kind of filling us in on where we are now.
Yeah, where I was is the district is going to certify the tax rolls sometime in mid-July. You were asking me about the
Yes,
arbitration.
I got a letter. It said, "Hey, you've been your arbitration date is set for whatever it was Thursday." And I thought, man, you have to protest within 5 days to contact them. And they said on the phone, they said, "Hey, your chances of seeing anybody from your board is 0. So if you want to come down here anytime, you can come see us." So I mosey on down there on a Friday. I thought, this is going to be awesome. As long as you're there before 3 o'clock, you're good. So I go in there, and first of all, I will complain about this. They had, you empty your pockets, and then you go over there, they have an armed guard, and then they send me to the second floor. "Oh, well, you're a residential. Well, you go to the third floor." It's like, I would have known that. I would have walked around. But they did have all the people were very nice about it. So I go in there, and I said, "Do you have my stuff?" And the guy's name was Brian. He was real nice. And he said, "No, we don't have your stuff." I said, "Well, I was wondering because it had a glitch." And he goes, "Was that so-and-so day?" I said, "Yeah. It was the day you changed programs." Okay. So I, on the fly, uploaded everything from there. I was like, oh, and I was pleasantly surprised that even though I said, you can't count my fence because that's not part of your praised property, and the snout-nosed butterfly infestation doesn't count either. So that's out of it. Yeah. So what he did do, he immediately went, "Yeah, your house is a disaster," and said he got me actually 12,000 less than even my best offer was. So he went above and beyond. He said, "Now, if you want to gripe about this, you're sure welcome to." And so I just left it at that. But it was fine. We got out of there. The people, all of the receptionist people, they were as friendly as they could be, even the cops. And I asked Brian, I said, "Well, they have the cops here because you're going to have somebody come in here like, by God, I mean." Sometimes they get mad. One lady was crying, so that's why you have the police in there. Mm-hmm. So when they have the arbitration like that, is it possible that, I guess you said you have to bring the suit and all the stuff for everything if you want to have an arbitration, and then you can go then to district court. That's where it gets really dicey.
I think you got one or the other.
Okay.
I think you can go to arbitration or district court. If you're not happy with your arbitration, come back next year.
One of my coworkers, Kelly, says, "How come my land went up and my house went down? Why is that?" So he just wanted to know.
So general principles of appraisal practice, you have 100% market value comprised of about 20 to 30% land, 80 to 70% structure. So when that's out of whack, we have to make adjustments. And so, like I said, generally accepted appraisal practice in a normal setting is going to be 20 to 30% of value on your land, 80 to 70% of value on your structures.
Which was kind of interesting. We ran into a lot of that on the island. That was something Dale and I were talking about a while ago when we had thousands of empty lots on the island out here, right. And then that eventually whittled down, and now we're under 100. What is it now, Dale? Around little over 100 that are empty waterfront lots. So the year to year, you can expect a lot of the jump on the last of those to go. Right. So
a vacant lot is worth more than a lot and a half.
Yeah, vacant lots are worth more than some of the houses. Yeah,
and to be completely honest, years ago in history, right? People were buying up land lots with mm-hmm. houses on them just to tear them down and rebuild here on the island. We had an appraiser that was dedicated to nothing but the island. Some of you may remember her name, Diana Vargas, and she was always breaking down, the valuation, but at that time the land was worth a lot more than the structure.
Well, that's what you see happening in a lot of neighborhoods. For example, Bel Air in Houston, where I grew up. The house I grew up in, the house isn't really worth much, but it's the property that through the years, has dramatically increased because of the tear down and rebuild. And we've been seeing a little of that out here from the first generation houses on Padre Island. Are we seeing a little of that in the Bluff as well, Greg?
Yep, on there, but those houses, they don't worth very much.
It's I tell people, my dad's house, the house that is still still lives in is worth the $2,000 that it costs to get the truck in to knock it down and take it out.
The termites hold them up.
Yeah, exactly.
We told Jay he's sitting on $1 million because they said his house is worth, his lot is worth more than his house is, and he thought, well, if he puts in like boat storage there, I thought, man, he can still live in one half of the house and he'd still be in
Yeah.
business. So you see that a lot with the Heights, my daughter's house over there in
Yep.
the Heights. They're just knocking down these beautiful homes. Like, well, okay, we'll build these McMansions,
And is that going to be just a sign of the times? Do you see more of that coming out throughout Corpus?
You know, it's going to depend. And because the appraisal district always trails the trend, we have to see the trend happening before we actually pick it up.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So right now, you know, we may see a little of that, but not
Yeah.
anything like it's been in the past.
Well, and the reason why I'm kind of leading into that is I want to bring up the question of expansion of the city of Corpus relative to its size, right? So in towns like San Antonio, Austin, and Houston, suburbs pop up. Corpus is still, we've got a small suburb out here on the island, or you call it the Bluff, but we're still 20 minutes from everywhere, which by any driving or, work standpoint, your commute is really not that bad.
No.
That's true.
Yeah. So I wouldn't
Yeah.
think that we'll see really that crazy of evaluations, because it's not like you can live in London and work downtown, and I know plenty of people that live here or work in Rockport or Portland.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the
Especially with that
comparison to
difference.
Austin's right, because I lived in Austin 10 years ago before I came down here. And,
When it was cool?
When it was cool.
Yeah.
When it was weird. But it would take me an hour in the morning to get down. I've worked downtown in a big glass steel building. And then if I was lucky, an hour and a half to get home. So there's 2 hours, 2.5 hours here. I live here on the island to be down to the district 20, 30 minutes at best. Now they're doing the construction, so it's going to be a little more, but
yeah.
That's
Well, do you get is there one part of the county that you're seeing where are values going up the most? Obviously, on the island, we've always said that because we had comps, so many comps, because our market turned over. It's not doing that this season. We're not seeing as many houses sell as we have.
Right, and because our appraisal date is January 1st, we're, the valuations that went out April 1st were indicative of what the market was January. So quarter 4 of 25,
Right.
quarter 3 of 25. And so like now, what's happening now is going to be reflective of, 2027.
So if somebody is looking at their valuation from this year and saying, I can't sell it for that, wait till next year and see if there's an adjustment there.
Exactly, because we do, despite what some people think, they think, well, you're always quick to go up, but would you ever really go down? We absolutely have in the past.
And one of the
monitored by
things I hear
comptroller.
out here, we had Gabi Hilpold on the show a while back, and she owns quite a few rent houses. The market, the margin for rent houses is so small that people are they're not buying them right now. And the complaint over the years that I've heard, and it's not really a complaint, it's just a reality, is that if you live in a part of town where the houses don't sell, your comp may be 2 or 3 or even 4 years old. Out here on the island, there's not a block on the island that didn't have a house sell in the last year, even in a slow market like this.
Yeah.
So our comps are always right up to date, even though you only are required to evaluate, every 3 years, I think?
We reappraise. We're on a reappraisal cycle once every 3 years, but we still have to keep up the permitting. If there's any increase in value due to new construction or a change in construction. Once every 3 years for reappraisal, standard reappraisal, but we still have to look at the market and make sure
So
that
if the house next to you sells, you got a comp, you're probably going to get reevaluated.
if you'll at least get a look at, but not necessarily. I mean, one sale doesn't indicate a change in market always.
Well, speaking of change in market and the appraisal stuff, we're going to get right back to that when we get back from our break. We're jumping out for a quick one. Everybody hold fast.
A lot of tourists have stayed on my island.
Yeah, the savings and loans all crashed.
Yes, I remember.
And
That
they
was the
didn't
big-
have, they, something, AR, it was 3 letters, And man,
RTC.
RTC,
Yeah.
that's it. And they
Resolution
and
Trust
man,
Fund.
there were
Yes.
people that just got into the business of buying those houses and flipping them because if you could pick them up, they were the S&Ls were. It was a regulation problem.
And we haven't seen that since that time. So
It was something where they extended some sort of loan guarantees to S&Ls,
Yeah.
but they didn't regulate who they were handing out loans to.
and you know there was a movie that was made from that situation, and it's called The Big
The
Short.
Big Short. That's a
Oh,
great
yeah.
movie.
Great
That is a
movie.
fascinating movie.
That was
so well
the
done.
Yes.
what's his name book, Lewis's book, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Michael-
living in
Michael
San
Lewis.
Antonio then, and I was covering the Bexar County courts, and so man, it all came and the appraisal district, and it all came crashing down because the S&Ls they were all cut, they were upside down.
Right.
All right. Segment 3, 11 minutes. You guys ready? All right, and we'll run this 11 minutes, and then the last 9 we have for moon updates.
Good.
And we're good. So you guys have 11 minutes to yell at everybody and get them in line. All right. Welcome back to Island Moon Live. We are here at our Docks Waterline studio. Deborah Morin and Brian McCabe with the Nueces Central Appraisal District, with the chief appraiser and the taxpayer liaison, right? Fancy business
That's it,
cards and
man.
everything. Debbie Noble joining me, Tyler the Salty Fisherman Thorson, Greg Smith, and my name is Jacob Boggs. When just before we went to the break, I wanted to ask, I kind of bring up, kind of queued up. We have to get our appraisals and fight it and do the whole rigmarole every year. There has been talk of going to a 3-year pattern. Is there any credence to that? Do you see that happening?
I think every year you can't lose votes by saying you're going to fix the property tax system. I mean, nobody's
Yeah.
going to say, well, I'm not voting for him.
When this taxpayer liaison thing plans out, man, you need to be a political consultant. That's yeah.
But every year it comes up.
Yeah.
The governor right now is talking about some pretty, I would consider, fundamental changes in the tax system.
Yeah.
But what I think is emphasized, what are we going to do? I mean, we're not going to up. I mean, the other alternatives are to have an income tax. Well, that ain't going to fly. Up the sales tax? Nah. We still want the police. We still want the firefighters.
fire
We still
and
want
police, yeah.
all that stuff. So
Infrastructure.
somebody's got to pay for it.
Yep.
And so all these, and the example I use mostly is the unfunded mandates. Legislature comes down and just picking on schools. They say every school has got to have a uniformed cop with guns. I mean,
who's
from
gonna pay for
kindergarten,
that?
yeah, and then the schools come back and say, well, that's cool, we don't mind, so how are we going to pay for it? Well, that's your problem. And there are a bunch of those, what we call unfunded mandates that are handed out every year.
Mm-hmm.
So fixing the tax system, doing away with it, I don't see it. But there's always people going to do that. And I'm anticipating legislation filed this year. In fact, they
yeah.
should start filing fairly soon.
Yes, we're about to enter the 90th legislative session.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So,
So,
after
and
the,
is
so it'll
there?
be interesting.
Do you guys have to? Do you see this every year, every legislative session?
Yes.
Is there about okay?
Yeah.
And are there real like kind of sweeping changes, or is it all small stuff that you kind of have to watch with, like similar to like developments in the tax code?
I think they're both. I mean,
Okay.
the sweeping changes we got last year, and I benefited from, they upped the exemption for anybody over 65, and
That's
that went
true.
from 100,000 to 140, and is that where it is now, or
I think it's 160.
160? So again,
Homestead.
that to me, personally, and I think most people who have a homestead, that's pretty sweeping.
Yeah.
A lot of it's little stuff, these special legislation, somebody gets mad at the ARB or get mad at the district, and they do a special bill, and everybody votes for special bills, and then we find out that had a lot of consequences to it. And so,
unintended consequences. sometimes.
always unintended consequences. Yeah, I don't think they intend to do this. They just want to get this one guy off the board.
Right,
And
right.
so, you know, and we saw that. And I think last time I was here, we were talking about the term limits.
Yeah.
ARB, you've got. Did you do 6 years, Greg? Yeah, but then you can't come back ever. And oh, come on.
You graduated.
Sounds
Yeah.
good for you, bad for the rest of us.
It's like,
Liked your
it's
expertise
like me
there.
getting my undergrad. They won't let me back either. Yeah.
Well, you probably have eligibility for football
Yeah.
if you go for
Oh,
it.
there we go.
Yeah, Tech is looking.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that was funny.
So how has this season been after the appraisal? How many have you had more or less complaints than usual, or how many have you had to deal with?
Well, I ran a quick little.
You got some
You got
numbers,
some-
huh?
she brought some receipts, as they say.
And
Because we always hear, especially on social media, you hear so many people complaining, like, oh, they're all waving their things around in the air and complaining. But I wonder how many people actually follow through and come and talk to you.
So in total, for 2026,
Yep.
Flower Bluff ISD, which is comprised of Flower Bluff
And the island.
And the island.
area and the
Yeah.
island, we had a total through today
Yeah.
of 5,993 protests
That seems like
filed.
a lot.
And
How does that compare to other years?
so compared to other years, it's probably about really between 5 and 10% of
Similar.
change.
Okay.
But the majority of those 5,993 accounts were 3,109 single-family residential. We had some townhome condominiums, about 1,173 of those. We had 140 multifamily. We had 566 vacant lots, 48 farmland, ag farmland.
Yeah.
216 properties were commercial. We had about 13 pipeline light industrial. 44 accounts were business personal property. 61 were manufactured houses, mobile homes, manufactured houses. And then we had about 568 properties that were inventory, so developers that carry vacant lots for development.
How many, either on the tax rolls totals, like what percentage is that 5,000 some odd?
So, well, what I do have is that out of the 5,993, we only have left to work or come to an agreement, or perhaps they're going to be attending an ARB hearing. That's about 3,180. And
Still seems like a lot.
in terms of, and that's about 53% that we still have to certify or assign a final value. But in terms of number of accounts, I don't have that off the top of my head for Flower Bluff ISD, but I can certainly get that.
I'm just curious as to what that percentage is. Like, is it 10% of the people? Is it 70% of the people that are complaining?
That's been run before. Dale, you've written about it, of how much of the tax burden is here.
It's about a little under 14%
Yeah, I was going
in
to
the
say
county.
14 to 15%.
And we're about 4% of the population, right, Greg?
But you're only talking about the island. You're not talking about Flower Bluff. Okay.
But from the properties on there, Deborah, there's close to 200,000 in
We've
the
got-
county.
300 plus.
In the
but-
county, we've got 221,000
Okay, in the whole
parcels in the whole county, comprised of all 13 school districts.
And you have 30,000 people living between the bluff and the island, so
Yeah.
almost 6,000 number seems
Yeah.
large, but when we
Yeah.
start breaking it down,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it reduced. And the fact that you got half of them taken care of, or almost half now, is really pretty good.
And we do only have 19 more operational days of ARB hearings. The last day for that is July the 17th.
Now, were a lot of those dealt with just where people can come down and talk to you before they get to the serious?
I would
before they
say
get to
the
official
majority
hearing?
are.
Yeah.
The informal
Which
approach.
the informal,
The
approach
informal, and that
seems
works
good, yeah.
great
Yeah.
because people generally walk out happy. Not happy, but
Well, happier.
they don't
It's a
wanna-
relative.
We don't
thing.
have to call the cops.
Right,
So-
it was a good experience. And everybody was so friendly. It was really nice.
Yeah, and
I enjoyed it.
this was my second year doing my filing my protest online, and the system was easy. Was able to get through. Was kind of clear, kind of as things in and out, and from a what's the easiest way to say this? A governmental entity running a website. I was actually quite impressed, and it was
It's a lower bar.
it was an easier it was an easy
Well,
process.
it's
Well, not an
getting
easy.
better.
It's never a fun easy process, but
Right.
like yeah, it's I mean it's
Yeah.
not yeah.
Could have been worse.
I'm leaving references out of this because it's a family program, but yeah, no, it could have been a way worse experience.
Yeah.
And you
That's
did
good
you
to hear.
submit photos?
Yeah.
I know they always say that.
Yeah,
should
you can
submit
take photos every year, upload them, and I have an archive of all the photos since we got the house every year.
Oh, nice.
Of kind of like keeping everything up, and just watch out what's going on with the property and the foundation underneath me, right, Tyler?
Yes, exactly right. Speaking of foundations, you can come see us at Complete Foundation Repair. That's what we're doing right now, because it does make a difference about how much your house costs. Because if you have, I don't know, $30,000 worth of piers you need to be put under there to make it right, it's something you got to think about when you're wanting to sell your house, or you think your house is worth something, and it's like, hey, if you want to come fix that, and then do that. So we're doing all that kind of stuff, and usually gets really busy right now.
Yeah, and that's the stuff you want to bring to either your informal or your ARB.
Sure,
And bring an estimate.
You
Bring a
can show
written estimate.
what the costs are, and estimate the number of piers it would take to fix your house to where you think it would be fair, and it's not hard to look that up.
Right. But
Interesting.
if you don't get it, it can be hard.
Yes,
People who
if
don't
you don't
do
get
that.
it, yes,
Yeah.
Interesting. So you guys are about at the end of your season. What happens after
That's
this?
What happens after
That's
that?
the article that I wrote.
Okay.
After your 19 days, and like theoretically everybody is.
Well, it's turned over. The appraisal roll is certified, and that's got to be at least 95% done, and it always happens. Then it's turned over to the taxing entities, and there are about, 30 or so?
There are 37 taxing entities
37
in
taxing
Wales County.
entities. And they're all doing their budgets. And so then they get the number and they say, okay, this is how much taxes
we're
we
gonna
can
get
do.
from that.
And there are restrictions, state law again, on how much you can raise taxes and under what circumstance. So they all do that. They turn it then back over to the assessor collector, and Kevin then prepares the tax bills. They go out in September,
October
October.
1st.
Yeah,
October
well,
1. All right, you have that to look forward to.
yeah,
Outstanding.
but again,
October
the
1.
district is the first one out of the chute, and that's why we get most of the flack.
Yeah.
Because coming out in April, that's the first exposure they have to us.
But also, you have a process by which people can come and say, "Hey, can I lower this number?"
Absolutely.
But once it gets to the schools and once it gets to Kevin's office, we don't have any recourse.
have
You're the
less-
only part of the system that we have any recourse.
No, you do.
Well-
You can
Well,
go
other
to,
than
They're
voting,
limited.
go
I mean,
to
they're
city
limited.
council. You
Yes,
can go to
yeah, yeah,
commissioner.
yeah.
I know
Well,
that
yeah.
always
But
gets
you
a
know,
good
but
laugh.
you know what I mean?
Well, I will say,
Particularly if you've been on the other side.
Yeah.
You can vote people off the school boards too.
Yes,
then.
you can.
You
Yeah,
can,
other
and you
than
can
voting.
go when they
Like, I
adopt
mean,
in their budgets.
Well, I mean, one-on-one, you don't have as much.
awesome. Well, I will say
voting
thank you
is.
again, Brian McCabe,
Appreciate
Deborah
it.
Morin,
Thank
with
you,
the
Oz.
Nueces Central Appraisal District.
that
Always
right.
nice to have you guys, and you guys always look so good. I haven't seen anybody
know.
look that good since I talked to my buddy Ted at Impact Marketing. And got this slick CCA hat that I'm actually wearing right now. If you need some Richardson trucker hats, the hats the Peterbilt of trucker caps, or you need any kind of screen printing or embroidery, they're right down there at 923 Schatzel Street downtown. You can reach out to them at 887-9300 or just go to impactmarketingcc.com. Like I said, screen printing, embroidery, they do everything that you need and more. Safety gear, technology, you need some custom cups for an event or a team building exercise, just reach out to Ted and let him know that you heard about him from the Island Moon. We're going to take a quick break and be back shortly.
Orderanzas that will make a total stranger claim. Now everybody's saying that's my island.
I do remember seeing the city photos.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
You would ask
So
me.
yes, yes. Yes.
They'll be old by.
Just want to make sure, because sometimes I dream that I do things and I do it.
No.
Once we get the final numbers, I want to get a evaluation on.
You're in the middle of you're in the middle of stuff right now.
Oh, it's the busy season.
That is, let's see.
These are citywide, right?
This is Flower Bluff ISD.
We started the
So
conversation.
it doesn't show the difference between Flower Bluff proper and Padre Island, but it's,
Yeah, I think between the two of us.
and this is through today, so it's June 18th.
We're still going?
Yeah, June 18th. Let me write that down. And,
So we're going to talk about, we can talk some water. We got 9 minutes.
Got that
Yeah.
container.
Talk about that.
Bob Hall update.
Bob Hall and then we'll end up with the intersection.
Yeah,
We got to talk fast.
exactly.
Yeah, you got 9 minutes.
That
to cover all
intersection is about to blow up. when Speedy Stop opens their doors and people start running boats in and out of there.
And people
oh,
don't
yeah, that's one over by the bank, right?
Yeah.
people don't
I didn't
understand
realize
what
how-
we're about to be up
that thing
against.
is
Yeah,
like-
it's huge.
good.
Yeah.
And it's
Exit
right,
361, right?
Yeah.
it's
hope.
right by
And
the
when you-
intersection.
And it lines up with Sand Dollar. When they're going to pave Sand Dollars, you're going to have traffic coming from two sides.
And-
And then as you go towards Hackery, the entrance to all the lake
And
hydrants.
thank you again to everybody watching on YouTube.
Thank you.
Morning in the summertime, everybody's coming off the island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm thinking too, for Saturday morning, people trying to get over the boat ramp over there.
Yep. And that Speedy Stop will be the
Oh, I need
closest
gas.
and easiest place to get gas for your boat before you dump it back your channel.
Thank you.
I have a couple of events on the island coming up in the next few days too, if I can get ready.
You know what's also going to happen? You're going to have backup because of holiday tomorrow. It's going to be busier than normal.
What
Yeah.
holiday is tomorrow?
Holiday?
Juneteenth? Everybody's
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a holiday now.
Our trash goes out on Saturday.
Juneteenth.
Yeah.
No, I'm
That's
serious.
No, no, you are, absolutely.
Awesome.
That's when emancipation arrived.
Thank
in
you
the
It's good to
so
see
much
you.
for
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Anytime,
It's when they
Brian. Good
finally
to see you,
found
buddy.
out
Really,
about it
it's
down
always
here.
a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
You'll take it easy. Let us know if there's anything we can do.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
Always looking for improvement and working on it year over year.
Yeah, and I found a front door parking place. I thought, man, this is pretty good.
That's pretty cool.
They gave you
Yeah.
good parking?
That's
Yeah, it was our walk. I was going,
You know it was
Then you
a
can-
problem
Yeah.
when you start
Yeah,
running
you
out.
get
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I went down there, had a parking or a speeding ticket. I go down to the municipal court, and you can't. I didn't have any change, and there's a slot on the meters. I try to put my credit card in it, and you got to have a parking card.
It's an app
No,
or a
it's an
parking
app.
card. Yeah.
You
So I
download
go
an app
into the
and you pay
municipal
through
court,
the
and I
app.
go, I need to get a card. They go, we don't sell those. Whoa. So I see how
Yeah.
you get your business. I see how this works.
All right. 9 minutes. Are we ready to jump
I
in?
just know all
Knock
the
this
parking
out.
spots that
Okay.
don't have meters. That's where I park.
Now I know. Maybe I'll go back to that date.
I can resend it.
And welcome back to Island Moon Live. Again from our Waterline studio here at Doc's Seafood and Steaks at the base of the beautiful JFK Causeway. We are here every Thursday from 11 to noon and 1 to 2, or you can just watch us on YouTube at Island Moon Live. Or go back to YouTube and watch any of our other episodes or issues. And speaking of issue, if you want to check out issue 1157 of The Island Moon,
We got issues.
you can just go to islandmoon.com, and a quick updates coming to the website as well. A lot of things in development, a lot of things being built. Speaking of being built, there's some good development going on at Bob Hall Pier. I had the drone in the air yesterday, and the old structure that was there has been hollowed out. The new structure is getting ready, and they're working on the concessionaire is going up. Tyler Thorson joining me, Debbie Noble, Dale Rankin, and Greg Smith. And special thank you to Brian McCabe and Deborah Morin from the appraisal district. Not the county, the central appraisal district. Totally different. Not the same ones you're thinking of. But yes, Tyler.
I have one thing I just wanted to mention about, because this is my idea with the Bob Hall Pier. You know, they have an issue with people camping there and then leaving their rods. And I think, why don't we do something like they do at the airport where you have short-term parking, like make a tag that goes, this is 24 hours, and if you got this green tag, that needs to come off there or we'll fine you. Because that will stop a lot of that parking, all their stuff, and go, well, that's my brother-in-law's. He's going to be back here in a minute. Because that's annoying.
County Parks Board, are you listening?
Yes.
Well, they're going to start charging as soon as they get the building.
Sure,
up.
and it's like $3 for not fishermen, $4 for fishermen, and then that's the issue we always have is
They charge by rod, don't they?
Yes, but then the problem is that you'll get the whole D-head or whatever it is, D-head will be blocked off by the same folks' rod. Just like,
So-
well, that's the same rod I saw before.
And there's going to be interesting things, I know, when we talk about alcohol sales, TABC, and all these regulations come in. Will you be able to, you won't be able to buy a beer at the restaurant and then walk out, right? Or
I
will
don't
you
know.
be able to, or how much is a
I
walking?
don't know the answer to that. I don't
remember
think
how that
so.
worked.
Okay.
I don't think the whole pier is a controlled.
There's
There-
no
yes.
alcohol on the pier.
Okay.
Oh, there's
that's,
not.
No, that'll.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, legally, there's not.
Oh,
Let's just paint my chest here.
exactly. What is that? That's just Grandpa's cough syrup. Yeah.
So
That's
yes,
why you have a Yeti.
So we have. So we
Nobody
have
knows what's
the.
in there.
Yeah.
We have the pier going up. They're going to take the existing structure, double the size. That's the restaurant. Once they get the cabana up, they'll start charging. I communicated with
Should be
Britt
later
Chesney
this month,
yesterday,
right?
and that's still a little ways down the road. The other thing we ran a picture in the moon, is the cover for the basketball courts going in at Commodore Park.
Nice.
And it's half up. One of the things I noticed, and Greg and I were involved with the naming of the Don Patricio Bridge. We're still calling the Commodore Bridge the water or the traffic mobility bridge, which
That's sexy.
that's what I
yeah.
thought, especially
Catchy.
when the water under it is not actually mobile.
TMB.
So I think we need a name for that bridge. But one of the things I noticed, if you look at the street signs, it's Commodore's Drive, but the park sign says Commodore Park.
Yes, there's an issue of plurality,
the plurality
So
there.
we've
Okay,
got-
do we
Is
have an
does
S
it
or no
belong
S
to
or
the
no S?
Commodore, or is there more than one
Commodore.
Commodore?
Well, it's not possessive.
It's
so
the mystery
plural.
of the island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not a possessive one.
Correct. It's so a group of Commodores. I guess it's a fleet.
So
of
this is
Commodores.
not this is
Yes.
not an serial comma or Oxford comma issue.
No,
Yeah, no,
not at this
no.
point.
It's
And
just
Similar kind of issue.
Okay,
It's
good.
the same thing with SPID and Park Road 22. You would think when we were annexed, it would become SPID, and some signs say Padre Island Drive, and some say
See
Park
the Ace
Road
Hard
22.
where it says SPID. And it's like, well, it's Park Road 22. Well, I'm not saying it said that, but it's
Right.
like, well, we
And-
count it as Park Road 22.
Well, up to NAS, it's State Highway 358. So once you get past that, then it becomes Park Road 22.
Oh, you really
but
had
you're
to bring that.
always
Yes.
And-
on South Padre Island Drive that goes to North Padre Island.
Okay.
how do you
Right, I
get-
was going to
yeah.
mention that.
How
Let's
do
give
you
us the
get-
Saratoga number now while you're at it.
How do you get from North Padre Island to South Padre Island Drive? You drive north on South Padre
Padre-
Island Drive to go to South Padre. Try explaining that to somebody from Iowa who's lost in the parking lot at Stripes trying to get to Brownsville.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen someone in a while. There were a couple
Yeah.
times.
We've seen him at the Mansfield Jetty
yeah.
asking that same question, really. And it's
close.
like, yeah, you're right. You're just you're almost
The
there.
good news is you're close. The bad news is it's going to take you a long time to get there.
Yeah.
You
So-
better know how to swim.
Yeah.
The other thing that we hit on this week in the moon, it's coming down the pike is I've been spending some time over at the intersection, the intersection on the island.
Yeah.
That's really the intersection,
Wait,
right?
the intersection.
Commodore's
Commodores
361
with an
and
S.
SPID.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it crowded now, even during the middle of the day. And now you've got the Speedy Stop is building their driveway coming in off the north side there. Sand Dollar, which meets it on the south side, they're about to intersect. You have the entryway to the Lake Padre development there, and now we put a story in the moon last week because AEP Texas is about
yeah.
to build a substation there. So a year from now, whatever it is, you're going to have 2 new paved roads between that intersection and Packery Channel. Whatever happens at Lake Padre development and a substation at some point going up right there on Packery Channel. You also have 38 acres right behind that is permitted for a marina setup. So,
Gotcha. That's
so
gonna
the
be
question is,
Congestion.
who's driving the bus?
No.
Who's doing the planning for that intersection?
And the question, we were talking with someone from TxDOT the other day about the new plan for the Ted Mandel Causeway.
It's going to drop somewhere in there. We don't
Oh,
know
Just-
where.
yeah.
there-
It's going to do
They're-
something somewhere around there.
yeah.
So-
What it may come down to is initially they had five different avenues
And
that they were
ruled out
entertaining.
the first 2 they ruled out are now the only 2
Are there
left.
only 2
Yeah.
left? Yeah.
So the other ones went away because nobody wanted the King Ranch. I think didn't
King
want
Ranch didn't want them.
Yeah.
and so now the only 2 that are left are the one right here at the JFK and Sea
And Sea
Pines, which
Pines.
is just not practical. It's the
Well, none of it
roadway's not
sounds
wide
practical.
enough. That's why they ruled it out in the first place. So you can't run a causeway down Sea Pines. It's
Yeah,
just not
but
gonna work.
that intersection is going to be rapidly changing and developing. TxDOT has their eye on it. I know they've been not doing
Maybe they're going to
studies,
need more
but
turn lanes from the other direction.
Well,
yeah.
Like since they added the ones coming from here going that way. I
Well,
mean,
if you
way
do-
better,
when you
way better.
When
than
you
it used to be,
replace the
but-
bridge, you'll probably add some lanes.
Yep.
So you're going to have more traffic coming from that direction, and you're also got the issue of 600 new homes going in over at the Whitecap development. That's going to increase traffic certain times.
Just in case everybody was worried, we've been working on every bridge on the island except the 361 bridge, and that
Right.
one's next.
Yeah, it's the only one
yeah,
with water
At the
going
same
under
time.
it at the moment.
Wait,
And we got Yorktown.
I thought that AEP bought the area over by Island Italian, the old Island Italian.
They
It was
did.
gonna-
They
and,
did, but-
and so what? They're not putting a substation over there after
They're
all?
putting one there as well.
Oh, we're getting
I
two.
think what they're doing, and you're also seeing utilities going, underground utilities, water and power going south down SPID all the way, Park Road 22, all the way south now. There, and if you notice, we're having a lot less power outages on the island.
It's true.
And so they're gearing up for the growth that they think is coming.
And
We just gotta fix
speaking of that,
spectrum.
before we move on, Greg, there's a event going on right now at the port. So we're about to get a container operation coming in here.
That's right. This is really huge news for this area. So they've got an outfit. It's called DP Freight. It's not freight, it's DP, but they do 10% of the worldwide container traffic. And they just, today's announcement was to have an exclusive negotiating period on there about putting a major container terminal in the port. And where it would be in the Inner Harbor on there. And one thing about containers, I've watched them up in Houston, they generate a lot of other. See that boat,
Speaking
that
of-
barge
All
is
right.
happy
Well,
about
speaking of ships sailing, we are out of time. Stick around on Island Moon Live. We will find you here every Thursday from 11 to
he's
noon
moving
and
out.
1 to 2. Or find us on Island Moon Live, where you can get all the awesome backstory and see how the sausage is made. Everybody have a great day. We are leaving now, but keep it on Island Time.
Maybe he's trying to tell us something like
Get the hell out of the way.
that container is. He's tied onto that tug. He's running it too. He's a sail. He's running hot. You know why?
I was going to say, yeah, that tug was telling the boat to get out of the way.
We got some spot news.
All right. Again, thank you so much to everybody watching on Island Moon Live on YouTube. We will see you next week.